Good evening, my sugar woogers and my beautiful butterflies. Coming to you this afternoon from Houston, Texas, a tribute to Anna Mae Bullock, better known as Tina Turner, who passed away today at the age of 83. As y'all enter the room tonight, this is my tribute to Tina Turner and what she meant to me. I will not be speaking to you individually tonight. When you come into the chat, y'all are welcome to talk or do whatever you want to, because this hour is dedicated to Tina Turner. Who is Tina Turner to Ms.V? Everything. She was my, I don't want to say idol, but I was her biggest fan. I'll put it that way. A role model. My childhood role model. I have followed Tina Turner since I was 10 years old. And it's a little hard. I'm not going to say I'm not going to cry, because that's why I have the dark sunshades on. But I'm going to get through this. I can promise you that. She deserves it. So I met Tina Turner to get to know her, never meeting her personally ever in life, when I was 10. Tina used to come through Monroe, Louisiana, my hometown, when she was married to Ike. I was too young to go to the shows to see her. But my oldest brothers were able to go because they were older than me. And I would wait up at night for them to come home from a place called Head's Palladium. That was the place to go back in the day. The only big club that Monroe even had. The rest of them were hole in the walls at that time, that era. But that's where they performed, at the Head's Palladium. It is now burned down. It was owned by Herbert Head. He's now deceased. But Tina and Ike were in their 20s when they used to come to the Head's Palladium in my hometown. And like I said, I would wake up at night, or either I'd stay up and wait on the brothers to come home, because they would always come home and tell us about the show. And there were plenty nights that they came in and they said it would be me and my mom up. My dad was gone to sleep, and my other brother, those two would go to sleep. But me and my mom would be up. And it was usually on a Saturday night when they performed. They might have done two performances, like a Friday night and a Saturday night. But it was usually on Saturday night that he beat her after the show. This is factual from my brothers who were there and saw it and came home with the report of what was going on. So long before it hit the scene out in the world, the big world, small town Monroe knew about it when it happened. And they would always go from the Heads Palladium after the concert that they had. This guy owned another place called Shanks. It was just a little motel, one room, everything in one room. And it was just up the street, and it was across from the Bernstein Park, which is now Louisiana Purchase Gardens and Zoos. The little hotel sit right across from there. And they would go there, and then Ike would get with the down home people, and they might get into it again. And he ended up taking her to the room and beating her and going back in there with the rest of the people because it was a bar there, a juke house. That's what it was. And that's how I got familiar with Tina Turner. So, like I say, I have followed her so long. It seems to me like a family member is gone, or like my role model is gone. And I couldn't come out here no other way tonight but to be like the classy lady that I've followed all my life. It's very painful. It really is. To have never met her. But this evening I had to look at it like, you never met Jesus, but you know him. I guess that was the same way when I was growing up. I never met her. I was too young to meet her or to go even to the club. But that is the beginning of me following her. And I have followed her until today, when she passed away today. She passed away, like I said, at 83 years old. And she was born in Nutbush, Tennessee. That's the correlation of our relationship right there. She was born in a small town to cotton pickers. That's what they did. I was born in a small town, excuse me, to a dirt farmer. Told y'all that. Who raised cotton for a living. His biggest crops were 100-acre crops. So he was really a big-time farmer for his day. And that's, I think, my big connection to her is that here's a small town girl, and she's coming at that time to Monroe to sing. And I was singing, I was dancing, and I was in the band as a child growing up. So music has always been a part of my life, and dancing. So I started watching her every time I could, or hearing her on the radio. If she came on TV, if I picked up the paper and she was in an article, I'd have to cut it out. It's Tina. Don't you understand? That's my idol. That's my everything. And so that was our first connection. And then our next connection was that she was performing. She was doing something to get out of that little town. I mean, she was trying to become somebody. I'm in the same situation. I'm in a small town. I'm ready to get out of this town. I'm ready to go see the world. This woman is showing me how to do it. She's blueprinting for me. Okay? So the one thing we had different is I had parents who were not going to let me not go to college. Or if I didn't go, basically, you on your own out there. I knew I had to make it. Because I told y'all I wanted to go to flight school at 18, and they wouldn't even let me do that. So it was no way that you're going to be a backup singer. You're not fixing to be none of that. Not with the parents you got. But that was the dream anyway. So the dancer or the singer, I didn't care. I just wanted to be on stage. That's it. So that's our next connection. And then as her and I got married, I think it was I wrote it down. Let me see. I think they got married in the, I believe it was 64. I get to it. I get to it. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. But anyway, they got married in the 60s. And they had 4 children. She had 4. They had 4. But she only birthed 2. We're going to get to that. And the other 2 were his. She adopted. I followed her. I knew every step of the way what was going on. And she did this just before she married him. So they came in as a couple with 4 children, 2 that belonged to him, 2 that they had together. And then she adopted them. So she actually had 4 children. His 2, her 2, made 4. And they all were her children because she adopted his 2. Okay? So that's the beginning of it for Miss V. And then it goes on a little deeper than that. So she is still coming to my hometown to perform because I believe they divorced around 1976. They were together for about 16 years. I put it that way. And he and her were toxic together. They were very toxic together. I mean, you saw the movie. That movie does not even portray things that happened to her in my small town. It was much worse than that. Because when I first saw that movie, I thought they should have come to Monroe. They should have come to the Heads Palladium. They should have gone to Shane's Motel and got the real deal. That was a little, sugar coated for me. And I guess you wouldn't want to put anything any worse than that out there with him putting her head in the fish tank and pulling guns on her. I mean, beating her and eyes all messed up and having to perform and having to still be a mother because I had no idea she had these 2 children as a little girl. I didn't find this out until after she and Ike got together, and I was a grown woman then in my 20s. And when she was performing there, she was in her 20s. We're 14 years apart. She's 14 years older than me. And so we just kind of, I mean, she never knew anything about me, but I jailed with her from that point of meeting to get to know her through my brothers and to read little articles that would show up in the Monroe Morning World and the Monroe News Star. We had 2 papers and they would tell it. So it'd be on the news sometimes it was just, so you get so used to it after a while, it's like, yeah, we know what's going to happen when the concert is over. So it is what it is. Then, she had a stroke back in October 2013. We're going to bring it up a little bit. And that really was the end of her musical career as an artist where you could go and see her perform after she had that stroke. But up until then, Tina had done her thing here in the U.S. and did lots of concerts overseas. She is the queen of rock and roll. Yes. When she left the United States, she went to Switzerland. And she married a guy there in Switzerland. His name was Erwin Bach. And they had no children, but she lived happily ever after until today in that house, in her house she had in Switzerland. And it's just kind of a lot for me to look back and see her whole life and how my life kind of fit in with her life because she was a trailblazer. For me, she was a trailblazer. And I've been called a trailblazer because no never meant no to me. My no meant no to everybody else. But I didn't put those stipulations on me that I couldn't do or I couldn't have because of Tina. She showed me a better way of life. A way to escape what you don't want in your life, where you don't want to be in your life. And she showed me on many, many occasions. She showed me how to leave Ike when she went through her divorce. When she finally made the decision to make her move, she did everything undercover. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew what was going on. Even small town didn't, because she had left the small town scenes at that point. And she was in big cities doing concerts. So she no longer had to follow where the Chitlin circuit had followed and come down south and book all these different vineyards to have a performance. Those days were over. She had passed that era and she had moved on. So that's another way I connected with her. She showed me different ways of doing things classy and gracefully. Nobody never knew anything about her. Nobody didn't know. I mean, she was just, it was him. He was the talk of the town. It wasn't her. Everybody was empathizing with her and in sympathy with her that she can do better. One day she'll wake up because she truly loved him. She had kids for him. She really did. But enough is enough. We've had that conversation out here before. And when it gets to the point where you get so violent that you're doing the things to her that he was doing to her, what's past time going? Why stay there? I mean, nothing is going to get any better. If anything, it's going to get worse. So, just let it be. It is what it is. So, this is hard. This is not easy. We know her as Anna Mae Bullock. We've heard the jokes, anime, as when Ike was treating her bad. But that's her real name, Anna Mae Bullock. And she has been known to many as Anna Mae Bullock, Anna Mae Turner, Tina Turner, Tina Turner Bach. That's the name she left it with. It's just taking me back, y'all. That's what this is doing to me. And bringing up so many memories of my time spending watching her. Now, to me, she is somebody that you couldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. Out of all the things she went through, and she let the world know it, she didn't hide it. She always came out on top. But I sit here today and I looked at her life. Most of it wasn't happy. Despite all the money that she made, she left here today worth $250 million from Bush, Tennessee. This is so amazing to me. I'm for the small town girl. I'm for the ones who had a hard life. I'm for the ones who pulled themselves up out of bootstrap and they went through hell to get there, but they made it. I'm that girl. I don't think too much of women that make it off of somebody else. They don't faze me because of who she was. She did it herself. You didn't see her get no babies out there on the road. You didn't hear about her sleeping around out there on the road. There were other singers that came on the scene at the same time. Aretha Franklin was out there. Dinah Ross was out there. Gladys Knight was out there. They had been out there a little longer when she came out, but they all were out there together. But out of all of them, it was Tina for me. Yep, it was Tina for me. And they had all gone through a lot to get the fame and the celebrity status that they had. But to me, it was how they got there. That's what I looked at. Dinah Ross made her moves through Motown in Gary, Indiana, with Berry Gordy. That's how she got there. Aretha Franklin came up out the church, her father's church in Atlanta, singing and playing music. That's how she got there, from the church. And I'm not sure about Gladys Knight, because when I didn't ever go back and look into her background to see how she came up or anything. When I knew her, she was Gladys Knight and the Pips. And I took her from a grown woman. I could take Aretha from being as a child in her father's church, a young lady, well, because she was older than me. When I was a child, she would have been a grown woman, a young grown woman, over 18, okay? So I knew about her, but I didn't know much about Gladys Knight, but I could tell you about those three. And like I say, out of all of them, it was Tina for me. Yes, indeed, because it was almost like she paved a path for me to walk. And through her stumbles or through every hurdle, she always got through it with ease. And I think a lot of it, once she left the cotton fields of Tennessee and came through the chitlin circuit, where the chitlin circuit was actually the 40s and 50s, but they were still kind of following that same order by the time I came along in the 50s, because I was born in 54. So it was a way that Black artists could make money by performing, and they could also sell their records at the back of the cars or at the performances. And that's how they made their money. And they did well, because in my small town, it was always sold out. I don't care who came, whether it was James Brown, it didn't matter. It was going to be a sellout. They knew when they got to Monroe, because that's what we looked forward to, is them coming to town and being able to go to the concerts and stuff. That's the first time and the only time I ever saw James Brown was at the Monroe Civic Center, when I think I was probably about 5th grade with the go-go boots on. And the only thing I regret about following her all my life is I never met her. Never met her personally. Know all about her, followed her all my life, but I never, ever got the opportunity to really meet her. That I regret. Yep. Because it could have happened. I mean, I know her so well. I know her favorite color is red. Yep. That was her favorite color. I know that her favorite food was fried chicken. Yes, indeed. I mean, it's almost like you would think we had met or we had been together at some point in our life. No, mm-mm. I followed my role model, and I learned a lot from Tina. Yes, I did. How to be a graceful hostess. I mean, she had it all. She did that. And let me get to her children. She had four, I told you. Ronnie Turner was one of her kids. And let me take these glasses off so I can see. Y'all just gonna see some teary eyes. That's all. All the makeup is gone. It did have some eyeshadow, all that stuff. I done wiped it all off. But anyway, um, one of her sons was called Ronnie Turner. He looked just like Ike. That's one of the sons she had for Ike. But he wasn't Junior, okay? That's one of Tina's sons she had for Ike. Because remember, he had two other kids that weren't her kids. Okay. So, I don't know if y'all remember, but Ronnie passed away. Wait a minute, let me make sure I got this right. She and Ike married 2 years after his birth. Okay, I got that wrong. Scratch that. So Ronnie was born first, and then she and Ike married 2 years after Ronnie's birth. Ronnie was featured in his mom's video in 1984. That video was, guess, what's love got to do with it? Yeah, he's featured in that one. Okay. Also, he married and he moved away from the United States also. And Ronnie died. So, yeah, I had that right. He died in December of 2022. And his mother shared this on the news. I was watching it that day when he passed, and she shared this. She said, Ronnie, you left the world a little bit too early. In sorrow, I close my eyes and think of you, my beloved son. So that's first kid she lost. She went through some stuff. Now she's coming out of an abusive relationship too. Got to remember all this stuff is playing. She still got the children all together. Yeah. So she had Ike Turner Jr. Okay. That's the son she adopted from being with Ike. They married in 1962. This son, Ike Jr., became a musician. He formed a band, and he called his band the Love Thing, much like his father. Looks like him, same characteristics in the music business. Okay? And he also won a Grammy Award as a music producer. He was all right. Okay, then she had another son named Michael Turner. He was the youngest son. He was also adopted when she and Ike were married. Okay, so that makes her have four sons. Not much is known about Michael. He kind of strayed away from family and family values, and did his own thing. So maybe if it's televised, I don't know if she would want that because she was Buddhist. I learned lots about being Buddhist from her. I never really got into it, But I just wanted to know what it was. I mean, what are you doing? What kind of religion is this? It's one that calls for a lot of patience and a lot of discipline. You cannot sit there and talk to God or whoever you talking to and chant for 30 minutes, hours at a time without discipline and without tuning the world out completely. I couldn't do that, but she did it. Yeah. So that's why I say I'm not sure if her funeral will or will not be televised because of her being Buddhist. I don't know their customs. Um, so let me see. Did she have one more? I think she had. I got one more to tell you about. No, I told you about them all. Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't tell you about Raymond. Okay, Raymond Turner, she scattered his ashes off the coast of California. Second son to pass. You still never heard her come out here and be a fool, act a fool, just classy, just dropping jewels as they leave her and she just going on with her life. Yep. He was 59 years old when he died. So she's buried two sons by now. And she says, the saddest moment as a mother will always be my son. That's deep. But that tells you what kind of woman she was. And I could go on for days talking about Tina because there's so much to talk about. And it's all good. It's her life. It's her story. But I think I need to stop right here. And because, like I said, this is a person I looked up to. The world looked up to. She took me to places, like I said, I would never even known. Just by me following her from a small town, like she left the small town. She encouraged me so much and never knew it. And that's why I have dedicated this entire life to her. Let me get into my chat and talk with y'all because that's as much as I can talk about her today. Hey, Myra, how you doing? Jam Jam. Ain't T Mimi old Ms.V looking fire that hadn't taught. Tina would be impressed. Such class, Ms.V. Thank you. Hey, Glendine, how you doing? Catherine lives in peace, not pieces. Good evening. And how are you tonight? Okay, hold on, y'all. I got to get some more tissue. Hello, Derek. How are you doing? Good afternoon from New York City, Long Island. Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. I guess you were in for the entire first half of the live. If not, this was to Tina Turner, a tribute to Tina Turner. Sabrina, good evening. Yes, a beautiful queen has gotten her wings. May she rest in the kingdom of God by all eternity. Well done, our beautiful songstress. Yes. Shatika, good blessings, y'all, and rest in peace, Tina. Yes, rest in peace to the greatest legend in music. And she was. Auntie Mimi, Tina is the epitome of strength and Grace. I pray the rest in peace now and in singing in heaven. She has so many up there she could go up there and be with. Do you realize that most of the artists from my era are in heaven? They got a hell of a choir up there. That's all I can say. I mean, can you imagine gospel, rhythm and blues, jazz? They got a hell of a choir. Yes, indeed. Um, but I know who directing up there. If they got a director of the choir up there, it'd be Michael. Michael Jackson. He up there directing. He done pulled everybody else together and he up there directing. Everybody else doing what he say, okay? The lab was little Michael. He was the director. He pulled the folks together. He did that. Hey, Rita. Hi, Asia, Ms.V. Good evening. So pretty. Good evening to you, Asia. Okay. You must understand through the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That's it, only the thrill of a boy meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. Yes, I definitely agree with that. Uh-huh. You must try to ignore that. It means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a secondhand emotion? Sing with me. Yes, Rita. That's beautiful. And if you know her songs, she told a story in her songs. Everything she was going through. And a lot of music artists, they'll do that. They'll, especially country and western, they'll tell you the story of their life in their songs. And Tina kind of named her songs as what she was going through at that point in her life. Yeah, that's what she did. They don't know the exact cause of death at this point, but to me, it really doesn't matter. She lived a long life, and I'm glad to have seen her get out of the United States and actually enjoy her life in her older years before the illnesses start coming on, because she's been sick for a while. But a great ending, because I read this afternoon where she died very peacefully. So even in the end, she was at peace. Yep. Let me get back in my chat. Hold on. Let me blow my nose here. Okay. You had to get the nose clean. Okay. You must try. Okay, I read readers. Carolyn, hello, Ms.V. and everyone. Just trying to recoup from the events of yesterday. My vehicle was broken into and they took my Bible. Oh no, Carolyn. Of all the things, your Bible. You got your notes in there. I got all kind of stuff in my Bible. I got extra little money in there, for the kids at church and stuff. I got pictures, I got articles of things. This article, Tina, go in there. Yeah. Um, this is a beautiful eulogy, Ms.V, making me tear up. Thank you, Auntie Mimi. I wanted to be a tribute to her more so than a eulogy, because I'm not a pastor, but I couldn't let this day go by without saying something about her. Like I said, having followed her since I was 10, it was no way. Rita said there's a name for it. That's a phrase that fits, but whatever the reason, you do it for me. Exactly, Rita. Tina looks so good in that famous picture of her in that short dress. She should have. If I had ever met her, I would have told her this. You should have marketed your legs. You wouldn't have never had to perform ever again. You could have done razor commercials, shaving legs. You could have done makeup. You could have done just modeling with your legs. Her legs were everything. I have never seen a woman with legs built like Tina. And to be able to perform on those legs in those tall high heel shoes for as many years as she did, that woman had some strong legs. Yes, and they were shaped beautiful. I mean, like perfect. Unbelievable. Yes. Hey, thankful for life. How you doing? Hey, Carla. Jam, you praying? Thank you. Carolyn, I'm sorry to hear about you. Your car broken into. They took your Bible. God will get them and replace your Bible. Also, Auntie Mimi. But the good thing about it is you got insurance. The bad thing about it, the worst thing I see in that situation is that they took your Bible. That can never be replaced. Never. Okay. But we'll get through this too. Ashley, oh my God, Ms.V sending you a virtual hug. Thank you, Ashley. Good evening, Cynthia. How you doing? Carla, you look pretty today. I had to do this for Tina today. Yes, indeed. I couldn't come out here no other way because that's the way she would have come. Classy. Yes, indeed. I even got the earbobs on the day from her era. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And these were my mom's. Yes. Mm-hmm. Angela, thank you for the roses. Catherine lives in peace, not pieces. You're amazing, Sister V. Thank you, Catherine. Domestic abuse is real and her mother neglect, but she came on top at the end. Sip in peace. Tina Turner. Yes, indeed. Yeah, she came through a struggle. Her life was nothing. I mean, from the time I started watching her picking cotton in the fields and not parents not really having a whole lot of nothing, they had a little roof over her head and they had some food for her. And they picked the cotton. She picked the cotton too. And they sold the cotton. They got paid for picking cotton that day. So you think I'm not going to stop and say something about Tina? Thought you knew. Okay. Here, where am I? Hey, Cynthia Fuller. Alicia Guy, how you doing? Thank you for the roses. Okay. Carolyn, yes, Auntie Beamy, my Bible. Miss V, I am that girl too, but I made it. 50 years as a nurse, taking care of God's people, served my country in the USAF, Vietnam. You better tell them about it. And I'm still here. Yes, indeed. If you served in Vietnam, baby, you served in a for real war where they were still fighting and shooting with my hands. It wasn't this war like they got going on now. That was a rough war. You must have been at the tail end of it. Tail end of it. Hold on. You say you 50 years, Miss V. 50 years as a nurse. Yeah. Okay, so you were somewhere near the end of the Vietnam War for 50 years. That would make you in your 60s. Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh, salute to you. I don't mean to keep going. Let me stop. Thank you for your service. And that was an awful place to be. I saw pictures of it. I have pictures of Saigon. I told you the oldest brother was in Vietnam War. Yeah. Um, Elaine is saying, rest in peace, beautiful queen. Thank you, Elaine. I was like this for Michael Jackson. I didn't cry too much for Michael because I lived here in and out of Houston. I knew what Michael was doing. I didn't realize it to the bitter end that he was flying into Houston and his doctor was from Houston and he was uh, getting prescription medication from this doctor is what he was doing here. But it was almost at the bitter end where it was almost too late. He would have had to go into some kind of facility to get himself cleaned up. But it actually started from the burns that he got. And was it the Pepsi commercial that he was doing? And they put him on that oxycodone. He got hooked. And it went from there. It's sad, but it's true. Um, Let's see. Didn't she have cancer? I didn't read where she had cancer, but she did have kidney failure along with a stroke. She may have. I don't know. I didn't get that from all I read about her. Um, Report said Tina had intestinal cancer. Okay, so there it came out, I guess, in the end that she had intestinal cancer. That's coming from Auntie Mimi. That was the cause of death, I guess, was intestinal cancer. Okay. Tina Turner legs were worth $1 million. Yes, I would have insured them legs, baby. Yes, indeed. And them legs would have made me all kind of money. Sitting down, standing up, legs crossed on the beach, swimsuits. What? Because she had the body too. She didn't just have the legs. She had the body. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Hey, Diva, how you doing this evening? I pray they get saved from stealing a Bible. Okay. God will bring all of your notes in and bring them back to you. Okay. Okay. Yes, Ms.V. 1972 to 1975. Rest in peace to Tina Turner, a true lady in every respect. Yes, she was. So, y'all, I'm not going to stay on here too much longer because I haven't even eaten. I heard that news. I didn't even want anything to eat. I said, I'm going to take my shower and I'm going to come out here on Chatting with Ms.V. and I'm going to try to give a tribute to Tina Turner, the greatest in my life, in the music business that ever existed. Much love to you, Tina, from Chatting with Ms.V. And my condolences to your family. Good night, all.